In recent years, rocket launches have recaptured the public's imagination, thanks to incredible footage of reusable rockets like SpaceX's Falcon 9 and Blue Origin's New Shepard making almost unreal-looking landings on landing pads and drone ships. A rocket launch has become must-see internet TV. They even pull zany stunts, like Elon Musk launching an electric car into space and announcing that he hopes to put 1 million people on Mars. That's a lofty goal, pun intended, and to achieve it, we're going to have to launch a lot of rockets, much more than the 80 or 90 we currently do each year. If the rate of launches climbs, pun intended again, has anyone considered what all those rockets are doing to our environment? Rockets work by burning propellant, and lots of it. Instead of like the engine in your car, which burns fuel to make gases expand, which pushes a piston, which turns a shaft, which ultimately turns your wheels, rockets skip all that middle stuff and just jump straight to lighting fuel on fire, pushing themselves forward using the expanding gases that are shooting out the back. As you might imagine, this uses tons of fuel, so much so that over 95% of the mass of most rockets is just fuel. What does burning that much fuel mean for something like global warming? How much CO2 does one rocket launch emit? We could actually figure that out with the power of math. No, don't go, I promise, it'll be simple. Let's take the most powerful rocket there is right now, SpaceX's Falcon Heavy, which is basically 3 Falcon 9s duct taped together. Falcon Heavies use liquid oxygen and a rocket fuel called RP-1, which is highly refined kerosene. Nearly 86% of RP-1's mass is carbon, and SpaceX doesn't publish specifics, but a rough estimate of a full tank of gas for the Falcon Heavy is about 425 metric tons of RP-1. That's roughly 365 tons of carbon per launch. Let's assume all that carbon combines with oxygen to form CO2. Carbon makes up 27% of the mass of CO2, so divide that 365 tons of carbon by 0.27, and you get nearly 1,352 tons of carbon dioxide per launch, give or take. By comparison, a typical passenger car emits 4.6 tons of CO2 annually, so one rocket launch is the equivalent of nearly 294 cars on the road for a year. That doesn't seem so bad, actually. Even if we launched one Falcon Heavy, the most powerful rocket currently flying, remember, every day for a year, that would still emit less CO2 than 110,000 cars. There are over 270 million registered vehicles in the US alone, so that's a drop in the bucket. And that's assuming all the fuel is used completely. The real environmental issue is rockets aren't that efficient. RP-1 that doesn't completely burn forms chains of hydrogen and carbon. These dark city particles are known as black carbon, and in the atmosphere they can trap incoming heat. In the stratosphere, this heat can speed up reactions and lead to the breakdown of ozone particles, depleting the ozone layer and exposing us down here to more UV radiation. Along with black carbon, RP-1 produces nitric oxide and nitrogen dioxide, which are highly reactive and further break down ozone. But before you get mad at Elon Musk, just remember that different fuels produce different pollutants, and some are much worse for the ozone layer. The chlorine-based fuel used in the Space Shuttle's solid rocket boosters utterly obliterates ozone. Solid propellants also produce more alumina, which is a shiny particulate that could reflect heat back into space, but could also trap outgoing heat from the planet's surface. So we don't know the impact it would have on climate. That's really the theme here. We just don't know enough to say for sure what mass rocket launches would do to our planet. Companies keep rocket data confidential, so the data we have is mostly from lab experiments, modeling, and a few sensor-equipped planes that flew through rocket plumes about 20 years ago. We may feel that we don't launch enough rockets to be concerned with their pollution, but that's what we thought about space junk before it became a major problem. If we have more research and better data, we'll have a better understanding of our impact on the planet. Some scientists are calling for just that before we make a final say on just how much rocket launches affect the environment. So, the next time you watch another live launch and impressive landing, just keep in the back of your mind that more research is needed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe because we have more videos like Marin's about just how big our atmosphere is. Does the impact of rocket launches worry you, or do you think our focus should be on other environmental problems?